What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Seahawks Now. Today we discuss Tet McMillan's draft stock is falling. Could he land at 18, the superstar receiver out of Arizona? Plus another mock draft linking Gray Zabel, North Dakota offensive lineman, to the Seahawks, and we discuss if Ashton Jeanty would actually have a place in the Seahawks offense if he were to come to Seattle. All that and more right here today on Seahawks Now. If you're just joining us for the first time, make sure you hit that bell for notifications, hit that red subscribe button down below, and comment down below what position would you like to see the Seahawks target in the first round of the draft. Today we're talking about three potential guys for that the number 18 overall spot in the first round, beginning with Tet McMillan. And Tet McMillan comes out of Arizona, and according to Seattle Seahawks on SI.com, the Seahawks are predicting to end the slide for the top wide receiver prospect in the draft. Arizona, Tet McMillan, he is falling in the draft. His draft stock is falling, and he's ranked as the second best wide receiver prospect. The only guy who people think is better is two-way star Travis Hunter, who's probably going to go in the top 5. Some also believe Matthew Golden out of Texas is better, but for now, McMillan is kind of the consensus top pure wide receiver prospect, and he's being connected to the Seahawks. According to an ESPN report, the Seahawks would be looking for a big-bodied receiver in the draft, presumably to help replace what they lost from DK Metcalf. Gavino Borquez of Newsweek has a mock draft where McMillan slides all the way to Seattle at number 18. He writes, the Seahawks and Tyrone McMillan slide at number 18. The team traded away DK Metcalf this offseason, so a big-bodied receiver with star potential would be a welcomed addition. McMillan joins a revamped receiver core that features Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith-Njigba. And yeah, McMillan is a big-bodied receiver. He is obviously, he would be a massive target for Sam Darnold. 6'4", 219 pounds. He caught 26 touchdowns for the Arizona Wildcats over the last 3 seasons, 3,400 yards. He's also a popular draft choice for the Panthers, who need to improve Bryce Young's skill weapons and hold the 8th overall pick. However, in that mock draft, they have the Panthers going with an edge rusher, and then McMillan ends up sliding past teams like the Cowboys and the 49ers and lands in Seattle. So yeah, I love that. I don't know if, to me, I kind of wonder if that mock draft is a little bit off, because I think Tet McMillan is good. I think he's more of a top. I struggle to see how he doesn't land in the top 15, and I honestly think he has top 10 pick potential. However, if he does land in Seattle, that would be fantastic. So I wouldn't hate it. I would actually be super pumped if we could get Tet McMillan in Seattle. I just don't really see it happening. All right, let's talk about Gray Zabel. A new mock draft predicting Seattle will bolster their offensive line with Gray Zabel. This is in NFL.com's latest mock draft. So ESPN saying we're going to go with Tet McMillan. Here's what NFL.com thinks. It says with just 12 days to go before the 2025 draft, one prospect has emerged as a big favorite to go to the Seahawks with the 18th overall pick. Ever since the end of the regular season, O-linemen have been consistently getting mocked to Seattle. And one name that has emerged is Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State University, going to the Seahawks in round 1. NFL.com writes, to casual observers, this is a surprising selection. To draft sickos, this is the hottest name nobody knew a few months ago. Zabel started all across the offensive line at NDSU, but he'll most likely man one of the 3 interior spots in the NFL. That's an area where the Seahawks need to improve. Zabel turned heads working as a center at the Senior Bowl and showcases exceptional athleticism at the Combine. Seems like a fine fit in new offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak's outside zone scheme. Now, most of his experience has either been at right tackle or left tackle, where he put 961 snaps the past season. He was graded by PFF at a 90.4 overall, with a high mark for pass blocking at 93.1 and an 84.5 grade for the zone. He's 6'6", 305 pounds. He's a big, big boy. In theory, could wind up playing any of the 5 positions, but right now, Charles Cross is pretty much locked in at left tackle. Abe Lucas, while healthy, he's playing right tackle. So the guess is that Zabel would probably actually start at left guard or potentially at center. where he has played a little bit and he's played well at center. He just doesn't have as much experience there. But if the Seahawks, if they wanted him to shift to center, he probably could. But no matter where he is, he would definitely be a week 1 starter. It would be an instant improvement over whoever was starting there last year. If the Seahawks really want him, they will have to use their first-round pick. He'll likely be long gone by the time they're on the clock again in round 2. That's what NFL.com is saying. And yeah, again, I agree with that. I'd love to see the Seahawks bring in a guy who can play the interior line really well, because that is something we've struggled with for years. My reservation here, and again, this is why I don't want to get my hopes up over any of these guys necessarily, is that John Schneider has never shown a willingness to draft O-linemen in the first round. I guess he did take Charles Cross in the first round, and good for him, but Cross turned out to be kind of a bust. So we'll see how Gray Zabel turns out. But, at this point in the season, or at this point in John Schneider's tenure, he's shown us he doesn't like drafting O-linemen high. He doesn't like drafting in the first round. He wants to go skill. He wants to go skill player. He wants to go edge rushers, defense in the first round. I hope that changes. Let's just say that. I really hope that changes, because Gray Zabel would be a massive help, and I'd love to see that guy get into Seattle. All right, let's go on. Ashton Jeanty. We talked about him last week, but the potential that he could slide to Seattle, and I have some people saying to me, Levi, he doesn't fit into the Seahawks offense. People are wondering, why would we draft Ashton Jeanty? We already have Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. So this is to answer the question, where would Ashton Jeanty fall into the Seahawks offense? I'll tell you where he'd fit in. He'd fit in as their starting running back on day 1. That's how good this guy is. Again, I don't know if Ashton Jeanty, I don't know what the possibility is that he falls to 18. I think there's always a chance. There's always a chance because you never know what teams are going to be thinking on the day of the draft. You never know who trades up to get a quarterback, who trades down, who's going for defense. You just never know. So there's always a possibility. Right now he's being mocked around 10. Could he slide by 8 spots? Yeah, he definitely could. Will he? I don't know, but the question is, if he does slide to 18, I think it's a no-brainer for the Seahawks to take him. And honestly, if he's available at 15, I think it's a no-brainer to trade up to get him. Why do I think that? It's not just because I watched a ton of Boise State football last year. It's because Ashton Jeanty is the real deal, and he would immediately fit in to the Seahawks offense as their number 1 running back. He would be their RB1. He'd probably be a top 5 running back in the league next year. I truly believe that this is the best running back prospect of my lifetime, potentially. I think he's better than Bijan Robinson, and everyone had loved him. I think he's better than, what's his name up in Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's better a prospect than Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he could be a better prospect than Saquon Barkley. And that maybe I'm totally tripping here. Maybe I am. But watching him go for 2,600 yards last year, watching him score 29 touchdowns in a single season, he carried a Mountain West school to the number 3 overall seed in the college football playoff, and he almost carried them to a college football playoff victory in the second round. The fact that he did all that and still people doubt that he could be good. They didn't give him the Heisman. They didn't even really consider him for the Heisman. Ashton Jeanty is a really, really good player, and if he comes to Seattle, he's better than Kenneth Walker. He's better than Zach Charbonnet. And you're like, well, what are we going to do with 3 running backs? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to trade one of them. Probably trade Kenneth Walker. You could probably get a 2nd or a 3rd round pick back for Kenneth Walker. And then you get Zach Charbonnet as your new backup, staying as your backup, but now he's backing up Ashton Jeanty instead. Yeah, I think Ashton Jeanty would change the Seahawks offense, but he would change the offense of whatever team he goes to. I think that whatever team lands him, it's probably getting the best pure game-changing offensive skill player in the entire draft. I'd love for that to be Seattle. Again, it probably won't be. Realistically, it probably won't be because the chances that he slides to 18 are pretty low. But if he does, the Seahawks have to take him. They just have to. And with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap this video up for today. Let me know down in the comments, do you agree or do you disagree? And of course, as always, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and until next time, go Seahawks. We'll see you tomorrow.